So I'm now going to move on to the teams that I think will be the teams to watch in this tournament. Now I'm not just talking about the teams who I think is going to actually win the whole tournament, because I think we can limit that down to, well, to start with 5 teams who are in with a shot of winning it. Whether that's long distance or whether that's as one of the favourites, I do believe it is between 5 teams, and that is Australia, England, New Zealand, Jamaica and South Africa. But I want to look at some of the other teams now. I want to try and get some of the other teams in there as well, and to give you a bit of background as to who else you can maybe look out for. If you don't like backing favourites in tournaments, which I know a lot of people don't in sport, like I've been watching the Women's World Cup at the moment in the football, and I've been quite impressed with Scotland's story of how they've got there, and how they've inspired young kids in their nation to want to pick up a football and kick it around basically and get involved in the sport. So I think there's always little stories that people can look at and take inspiration from in tournaments. I'm going to start with Uganda for that reason. They've been they've played series before against some of the top teams and not always pushed them close on the scoreline, but you can see they have some good talent there, like Peace Piscovia, going back to my Loughborough roots again. I think when she played down here in this country, she developed into one of the best shooters in the world in netball. And she's gone on to produce the goods now at Sunshine Coast Lightning. After a bit of a tough start, it must be said as well, though, I think she struggled at the start to get used to the pace of their league over there, which is a bit understandable. Peace is one of the best players under the post I've ever seen from my short time watching the sport. The way she holds that space, she fends off the defenders, and she's always there to put the ball in very close underneath the posts. Now, she makes this look easy, but I think you'll find if you watch the highlights on YouTube and what the pundits say about her, it is actually a very difficult skill to do it week in, week out, when defenders know how you're going to play and they try and put little things in there to stop you from playing your natural game. Like I noticed a couple of teams, they had one defender behind Peace and one defender coming in front to try and win the ball. So Peace had to be very intelligent and adapt their game to that. And this is going to be absolutely vital for Uganda, because they're not exactly blessed with world-class talent throughout the squad, but you do have one or two that you think, they're capable on the day of winning games. There's no doubt about that. It's whether they can do it for 60 minutes and whether they can rely on these big players game in, game out, because I think there's only limitations to how often you can keep relying on the same players. So if teams figure out how Peace plays and they get a bit one-dimensional, then is the long-term progress going to be there? I doubt it, but I think they're capable of one or two big results along the way. So I've earmarked Uganda maybe as another dark horse you can throw into that list. Not necessarily to win it, but to maybe take the odd scalp on the way. I'm going to throw Scotland in there as well, just for the fact that I've watched a lot of the Scottish team. I've watched Sirens play an awful lot this year, and what I like about it is the Sirens franchise is heavily geared towards developing the Scottish game above anything else. As much as they brought Katsu Aveti in from abroad, the core values and the core principles of their club is to obviously develop what they've got in their own country, and I think that's vitally important, because there's only one Scottish franchise in the whole of the Super League. So it's about using the resources that they have, trying to get people to come and watch them at a big arena like the Emirates Arena in Glasgow as well, right opposite Celtic Park. I think all of this contributes towards developing athletes such as Claire Maxwell, who they're household names, people who enjoy netball. They're always up there with some of the leading competitors in the Super League. So I think Scotland's experience could be important now. They've had a couple of tournaments where they've perhaps been a bit naive at times and lost games based on their inexperience. But I think now we're in 2019, heading into the World Cup, they've had time to sort of fine-tune these things, and obviously with a lot of them playing for the Sirens as well, they know each other inside and out, they know each other's game. So I'd definitely say Scotland are going to be in there for not so much the results. I think more so your performance levels will be evident with Scotland, and it's very exciting to look at in terms of the two I've mentioned there, Uganda and Scotland. I think they're the two that I'd look for as being not so much winning games, but as much as putting pressure on teams and showing the strides they've made as nations going forward. I've got to mention Murray as well, who's come in at Loughborough for Uganda. She'll probably be on the bench a lot, backing up for Peace, but I think if there's a way of getting both of them into the circle, I think you've got to look at it. The two very experienced, vastly experienced players for such young athletes as well. Like Mary's very young, and the height she has for her age, the maturity she has, the way she's developed her English over here in such a short space of time has been a joy to watch as a Loughborough fan, and she's very engaging with the supporters and very keen to learn about the sport and develop her career wherever she can. So I think if somehow they can get two of the big tall shooters in the circle together, it might not work necessarily, but you've got to try these things out if you want to be sort of a forward thinking team in the tournament. So definitely Uganda and Scotland are me two little dark horse teams to watch, but I think it's going to be the most exciting World Cup we've ever seen, and it's going to be on home soil. So I hope everybody tunes in to watch it. I've got Australia down as my team to win it, but only just. But you can make a case for any of them five teams I've give you: England, Jamaica, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa. Any of them on any given day can beat each other, and we've not had that for a while. It's been all Australia for too long, and I think this is the tournament where one of the teams within that five can take a scalp on the way, or beat each other in the groups and then beat each other in the knockouts. It can fluctuate, and it only takes one bad performance and you'll be out of this tournament, and that's what we want to see: competitiveness throughout the World Cup. There's going to be that competitiveness amongst the players, but then as soon as they get off court, they'll have that respect for each other, and obviously they'll realise that maybe not the primary goal for them, but the primary goal for the sport is to develop it and to get people playing it and get people watching it, providing an entertaining spectacle. And we're not going to be short of the thrills and spills in this World Cup. It's in Liverpool, and I can't wait. So thank you very much for tuning into my YouTube channel. I'll see you probably during the tournament with a bit better footage than this, sat in my bedroom, but I'll see you again very soon. Ta-ra.